This book, When the Boss is Wrong, Making and Unmaking of the Leader Within You, has become a bestseller. Many people asked, why you are so courageous to write that boss is wrong? We always hear that boss is right. That is exactly I would like to tell in this book. In most organizations, most companies, we keep on doing work, we keep on praising our bosses, we keep on praising our leadership, and we never say if there is a mistake in the leadership that, look, there is something wrong here. In this, we have plethora of books on leadership. There is proliferation of literature on leadership. In fact, this is a very big profit-making thing in management field. Have more leadership books, leadership literature, leadership training, so on and so forth. This book is in a different direction. I am talking about 50 negative attributes of bosses, or simply 50 negative type of leaders, and tell that, look at them, learn from them, not to be like them. So in this book, I was going through different dimensions of negative attributes of leadership and tell people based on true experiences from the public, from the employees, from managers. In fact, I have done more than 1,000 interviews for this book. Went after employees of private sector and public sector and had a questionnaire. They filled up and they said why they hate their bosses and why they like their bosses. If you ask an average manager or an employee, what brings you happiness working in your organization? Most of the people will say, it's not the salary, it's not the incentives, it's not the work environment there, facilities there. Most of them say that my boss. If I am happy with my boss, I will be happy working in that place. So when I was asking them, why you hated the bosses, your respective bosses during different times, they were forthcoming. And things are as simple like ego of the boss. For example, somebody said, my boss is not CEO, Chief Executive Officer, he is a Chief Ego Officer. There are jealous bosses. I am doing lot of good work in my role, but my boss is jealous. My boss is unethical, and they give instances where he is forcing me to do unethical thing in the organization. My boss is not a role model for me. My boss is suspicious, giving instances when my boss, he doesn't trust me. He is always suspicious. How can I work properly in my organization? Different categories of bosses. Then how nasty their behavior is. How cruel their interaction, their relationship with us, the interaction with us. So these 1,000 employees, more than 1,000 employees, they narrate their experiences, and this I have divided, classified into 50 different chapters, and each chapter is like a capsule. First we will tell what exactly we are dealing. Next, stories, incidents narrated by real life examples from the field. How one boss behaved in a particular manner to an employee and what happened, what is the result. Finally, we give some prescriptions for the boss, precaution for the employee, and precepts for the organization. For each chapter ending with this. So what organization should do when there are bosses like this in that organization? What should an employee do if he has a boss who is cruel, nasty, jealous, suspicious, what he should do. And then what steps have to be taken at the organization level for recovery. So these 50 chapters deal with 50 different dimensions. Every chapter contains prescription for the boss. So we see that there is a disease in the organization because of this. What narrated by the employees, there is something wrong with the boss, something wrong with the leadership. How to overcome that? So clear message is given at the end of each chapter. What way we can improve the behavioral aspect of the leadership that is available. And apart from that, there are certain things like communication quotient, very important in organization. How a leader communicate to the subordinates. Most of the problems happen in organization because of poor communication, bad communication. So there is a test on how to improve your communication quotient, or what is your present communication quotient. There are certain questions and there are certain answers which they have to give a response. And there is a psychological scale rating from which you can understand what is the communication quotient. Readers also can understand what is the emotional intelligence. Very important organization. Very important organization, whether he really understands the team members. A leader who understands the team members, who is empathetic to the team members, he can really win the team members. So emotional intelligence is very important, social intelligence is very important, and also cultural intelligence. Many times the leaders, they don't understand the culture in which organization is operating. The culture in which the organization and the employees are having the mindsets. For example, a CEO coming from a different culture, posted to another location, another region, and he doesn't know about what is the style of work there, what is the nature of life there. And without understanding that, if his leadership style doesn't understand that, then there is a problem there. There is a communication gap between the employees and the leader. So this is also another area which we have dealt with in this book. I would like to tell, basically the title is When the Boss is Wrong, and many people thought this is boss bashing book. In fact, if you see the second subtitle of the book, When the Boss is Wrong, Making and Unmaking of the Leader Within You, the message is very simple. If your boss is bad, there is every chance that you will also become bad. Because whatever you see in your organization, there is a chance that you will imbibe and you will pass it on to your subordinates. So it is very important that you learn the positives from your boss. And if you see any negative in your boss, it's your mission to correct it in your personality and be a role model for your subordinates. So basically this book is actually not for bosses, basically for each one of us. Those who want to excel as a good leader, those who want to be really an acceptable personality in the organization and society. Basically, the communication is big. There is a failure in communication, mainly happens when you don't understand the other person. If you understand the other person and you know that what he wants and what way I should explain to him a situation, then the communication will be easy. Many times what happens, there is no understanding of the other person. So there is a test in the book which asking the boss about the employees and asking, do you know about the employee's hobby? Do you know the employee's family life? Do you know from where employee is coming? Do you know how the employee is coming to your company? How he is getting transported, or coming by a bus, coming by a car? Why these questions are asked to the bosses? From this we will understand beyond the office, there is a life for that employee, and whether the leader, as a leader, he is not a manager, he is a leader or he is a mentor. As a mentor, he should understand, he should have a 360-degree perspective of the employee. If he knows that, he will really understand his problems. The moment the employee thinks that my boss is not just a superior officer, he also understands my limitations and difficulties, he will be always supportive to me, he will be very, very sincere, he will be very, very committed. So, this understanding is very important for good communication. If I understand my employee, my communication will be, I will be orienting my communication such a way that that person understands it. In fact, we never expected this book to be a big hit. In fact, just after the launch, my publisher calls me and tells me that I have a good news for you. Within 10 days of release, the book is coming with a reprint. So what they say that those who have picked up one copy of the book from the bookstore or from Flipkart or Amazon, they went back after showing to their colleagues and the bosses, they came back and ordered more copies. So that shows that maybe this is something which is giving some sort of reality is narrated in a different way, and it is not an end there itself, but there are sort of some prescriptions and precautions given at the end of each chapter, which is like a handbook for happiness at work. So I think that may be the reason that people started liking this book.